Hello, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good, good, good.
Good. All set for knowledge?
Need to do bookings, but yeah, got the visa finally.
Great. So, hi, our listeners. Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, based upon where you are located. Why are we today here? You might have read in the description already that we are going to talk about AES. We don't want to leave any stones unturned on AES, and we are starting this new video series of Lata Viprata. Just for our listeners, I want to say Lata Viprata is a Dutch phrase, and if we convert it into English, it is called as let's talk. So, we are going to talk about AES. We are going to make this as a series of episodes. So, we will be live for each and every episode. Um, Beginning from today, we will also tell you at the end of each episode that what we are going to do in the next episode, and we will also try to explain our schedule. So, why are we today here? We have something for you. We want you to take something away from our knowledge. We want to share many things about AES, and the dude Dhruv have written a beautiful article recently about App Engine Studio, and we want to uh, explore more about App Engine Studio and share the knowledge more and more with the ServiceNow community. So, Dhruv, do you want to add anything before we begin something?
Yeah, just one thing in this series, we are not going to only talk about AES. We'll start from why AES, what is that trigger for the companies to buy AES, how to pitch, how to do demos, how to use resources, what are the steps that we should be aware about. So all of those things would be covered in this series. That's what we are planning, but not sure how far we go, but that's the intention.
Yeah, because we are also presenting just a shameless plug at the beginning of the episode. We are also presenting in knowledge, so we are quite busy with that stuff also, and we are creating content on regular basis. So we have something other than this also to do, but with full focus and with full enthusiasm. Let's start, Dhruv. So, who are we? I'm Ashutosh Munot. I'm a ServiceNow architect located or based out of Netherlands, but basically from India. Five times community MVP, three times developer MVP. Big, big cricket and football fan. I support Rajasthan Royals. It's an IPL team, if you guys know it. And I support Arsenal, a big club in London where this guy is located. And I work for a financial institute in Netherlands. Over to you,
And
Dhruv.
myself, Dhruv Gupta. I'm based out of London at the moment, working for Accenture as a technical architect. I think third time developer MVP, Google Hall of Famer. And as Ashutosh mentioned, I'm also a big cricket fan, not a football fan, but a big cricket fan. And my favorite team is CSK, just because of MSD. So yeah, that's me.
Awesome.
And before starting, just like any ServiceNow demo, here is the safe harbor notice. So whatever we say, it's our experience. Please don't make any buying decisions based on that, but you can make implementation decision based on our approach, unless you are not watching this video after 6 months, because service now changes very rapidly. So yeah, once this thing is aside, what is AAS, right? This is what we are here for. But before going for AES, I want to. We all should understand why anybody or any team, any organization would invest in any low code, no code platform where they have developers who are like pro developers. They can build anything. Then why they are going for low code? So let's first understand that and see where AES fits. But yeah, Ashok, why? Why?
So when we talk about low code no code platform, right? Why companies are adopting this low code no code platform is because they are facing some challenges, right? So on your screen right now you see this is something our research says. You can also see a source below that there is a problem currently going on into an IT industry where there is a scarcity of resources. Um, there are a couple of factors which we should look into at the moment, why companies are moving towards more low code no code development. So I will start with business challenge. It is like the business challenge is nothing but the KPIs or the targets are shifting day by day because of the scarcity of resources. We don't have resources. There are, um, I would say, it needs some time to hire extra resources, to onboard them. We have so many priorities within the organization, and if we want to fulfill that, it always takes time. So that is what you
Before
see.
that, I think there's some noise
Yeah.
from your earphone. So gonna unplug or reconnect.
Yeah. Can you hear me now properly, or is it
Still, there is kind of a thing.
okay? Because let me have a look. Let me share my screen again. Fun of doing this online, right?
Like you will always get those things.
Yeah. But let me fix my microphone quickly then. Um, is it okay now? Much
Yeah,
better? Or is it?
better, but still a bit.
Is now?
Yeah, it's fine. Let's continue.
So I was talking about mainly the business challenges. So you see that there is 50% of the KPIs or the targets are getting shifted away from what we have actually committed, right? Apart from that, we fail to do cost reductions. So basically, if you don't have resources, if your targets are shifting away, what you do is you go and either hire expensive resource, or you go to the external vendors, onboard them, and ask them to do the work for you, which is a costly affair. So that is what, according to me, is a business challenge, which is a driving force for many organizations to adopt low code no code platform and automate more and more within their business. Moving forward, if you look at the IT challenges, then I work very closely with my PO as well, and I have been a member of Snug, and I talk with these people within the Netherlands so much that I know every product owner struggle with this. Their pipeline is so big, their backlog is piling up so quickly because ServiceNow is huge. Everyone wants to get onboarded onto the ServiceNow within an organization. They want to automate more and more within ServiceNow. But if they want to depend on or have a dependency on the central team, yeah, the pipeline will be huge and they have to wait for months or weeks uh, to get that functionality implemented. So that is one of the IT challenge which we face. And then the last one is again cost, which I already mentioned. So the business challenge and the challenge shares the cost, which is directly proportional with each other, according to me. Moving forward, what why we are here basically is because of what we are going to listen after this. Companies are adopting low code no code platforms, but there are some I would say trending terms which everyone should be aware of uh, before they before they decide whether low code no code platform is actually meant for us or not. So Dhruv, will you take us through this journey where you will explain us few important terms within low code no code world and explain the, let's say, how people should look at this particular uh, terms
Okay.
basically.
Yeah. So before going on to those terms, I would say the terms that we're going to talk about are not our terms, but I'm still getting a lot of. Okay. The terms that we are going to talk about are not terms that we have minted, but these are the Gartner terms, and they are when you talk about with the people taking decision, maybe C-suite level people. These are the buzzwords they are looking forward to, and when they talk about adopting any low code platform, they tend to have these things being asked for. And if you say these terms, or if you have understanding of these terms, it would be easier. So the first one on your screen is the business technologist. So before understanding business technologist, I'll put one pointer in front of you. So if I ask you guys, like, in what department is the most development work takes place, everybody seems to be saying IT, right? Like, it's the, after all, that's where professional developers work. But thing is, IT may be well we where most professional developers work, but it's not where the most development work is done. Instead, most development today is done in department outside of IT, and that's something very good for the business. So coming to the what is business technologist? So business technologist is someone, an employee who reports outside IT departments. It can be centralized or business unit, and create some technology or analytical capabilities for the internal and external business use. That was the uh, typical definition. So this business technologist can be an individual whose primary job somewhat related to technology, maybe a Python developer, maybe a data scientist, or they can also be citizen technologist whose primary job is done through technology work such as pricing manager, building some sort of algorithms, chatbots for chatbots or something like that. The key difference that we need to understand here is the difference between the citizen developers and business technologist, because we often confuse between these terms. So all citizen developers are business technologists. However, all business technologists are not necessarily citizen developers. So take a moment, like, citizen developers are the employees who create application capabilities for consumption by themselves or others using tools that are not actively forbidden by IT or business units. So yeah, that's the important bit. The other thing that we need to keep in mind is the need for the tech work, like the technical work, is growing, as Ashutosh mentioned, which the IT departments cannot fulfill by themselves. And that is what many companies, because of which many companies are reconsidering how they draw boundaries, like, this is my IT department and this is something non IT. Critics.
So Dhruv,
Yeah.
like, if I ask you, when we speak about business technologies, you already mentioned that all citizen developers are business technologists, but it is not true other way around. Um, how, when, let's say, as an organization, if we want to adopt a low code no code platform, uh, what is that one factor which business technologists should keep in mind, or will they get attracted to the tool which they are using for no code low code platform? It is like, you can give some example and explain this, like why the business technology should actually do, or replace their manual process with one of the, let's say, tool in this case. What is that one thing that is driving them?
So basically, the need for the business that is driving them, they need to build app, and they might not be very technically sound in their thing, but low code thing gives the rapid application development, the pace at which you can develop applications. And people who know a bit about App Engine Studio, there are certain things that support business technologist mindset. It could be the app intake form. uh, we'll discuss them in detail, but just for people who knows about AES, so you can map business technologies to application intake process, maybe templates, Excel like table builder or workspace builder. Those are the things that business technologists usually get attracted towards the any low code platform. So basically, they work with a mindset, they know the domain very well. All they know, all they want basically is something they could do drag and drop, and it just flow in the way they think. So if they say, uh, for example, if a ticket is created or if an issue is raised, then this person should get a notification. So that is their mindset. So if they're creating a flow, so for people who are using service now, so if they're creating a flow, you have a trigger, a record created, then you set as an action that send the notification. So this low code helps them to speed up the development of the app. And in that scenario, there are certain features which I mentioned about AES that could help them out. But the important thing here is not the business technologist, but the next team, that is next term, that is the key. If you go on the next term, so the next term is our fusion teams. You would so I was working for I'm currently implementing App Engine Studio. So we were creating the vision statement for the uh, team, like what we are focusing. So they are a kind of a product based company and they have a vision setup. So they introduced me to this term fusion teams, and when I researched about it, oh man, this is definitely the future. I can throw some numbers at your side, but the key concept about fusion team is that it's a, as the name suggests, it's a fusion of different teams, like representation from different teams. It is known as like the multidisciplinary digital business teams that focus on delivering products. So basically, fusion team is the so for example, if I'm setting up a fusion team, it will have someone from business, it will have someone from IT, it will have a developer, it will have a business analyst, it will have the domain expert, and they collectively own the responsibility of delivering the product. And what it does actually, when you talk about why people are focusing on the fusion team, is faster app development. So when we develop app without setting a fusion team, every department works in their silos, and when we club them into one, the app development speed increases. You get better apps because on the table itself you have a domain expert who can guide you how it should be. There is a developer who can set up the data model on the fly itself, whereas if you build it in different silos, then there would be meetings set up, there would be agile stories created for each member. They will do their work, then they will sit together, they will work, and then they will again work in their silos. So you get better apps, you get faster apps. And the problem here is the thing that it is targeting is the shadow IT. So um, shadow IT is the, if you're not aware about the shadow IT, is it's a concept where uh, new tools are introduced and technologies are introduced without the approval of IT department. So every team is working in their silos, they are setting up their servers, and the central IT doesn't know about those things. So that is the biggest challenge that fusion teams covers up. And this basically what it has done is, I have written this in my article as well, that with fusion teams, it's easy to what we call democratized the enterprise application development. And the best part that I have realized, because we are also working in a kind of a fusion team, that fusion teams are more than capable of finding and implementing new technologies to achieve their goal without IT being knowing. And one Gartner fact that I can recollect, like 70% of fusion team leaders believe that their organization's standards around the use of data and technology only apply to IT. So this is a very bad mindset, and this mindset will increase the risk of shadow IT and decentralized process. And to avoid shadow IT, we need to have these fusion teams where you have representation from every department. They know what is going on, their ways of working, they collaborate, sit together and solve those issues.
Yeah, and I was also reading about this after we had our initial discussion. I think this team should not be that big, right? We should limit the team
Maximum
size
9.
to 9 people. Yeah, indeed. And also, people often get confused with agile teams and fusion teams. And like you explained, the main focus of fusion team is to deliver faster and a precise app, and not like follow like a agile methodology. I think they follow lean methodology. Both the teams follow lean methodology,
Yeah.
but the main difference I think is deliver the app faster to the end user, uh, and not to the stakeholder internally. So that is what I was. Uh, that is what my takeaway is basically from the fusion teams.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The reason why fusion teams are trending, because the administrative barriers are removed. Teams are no longer working in silos. So that's why
Yeah,
the agile teams are always better.
true. Thanks, Drew, for explaining that. And now let's move to our next term, which is, I think, also interesting term in low code, no code world. So, what do you think about composable approach? Just give us a brief idea so that the audience know how to actually club, or what is the relation between composable approach with the other two terms which we just learned.
Okay. So the thing is that we need to understand here is why composable architecture is trending. Let's cover up that first, and then I'll explain what is composable architecture. So what exactly was happening due to this COVID era? Like, what this COVID era has shown us, that organizations were prepared for one type of future, but now they need to plan for multiple types of futures, right? So the they need to find a methodology in which a business should be able to discover when it needs to change, and that discovery should be quick. So the organization that follows composable architecture are more tend to build faster apps, not only faster apps, but are more capable of adopting the change in the environment and whatever their business needs to change. So composable architecture is something followed by a composable business, and a composable business is an organization that is designed or function in a manner that they are able to adapt in real time in the face of uncertainties. And this capability will be critical in future proofing them. So let's do a deep dive. So composability in business basically means setting up an organization in a modular way so that it can reorient and rearrange as needed. So basically, I'll give you a very simple example. So in old days, we used to have those vinyl records, right, where you listen to music. They are the representations of kind of a monolithic applications. With by that I mean either you take all or you take nothing. Like a That's black color vinyl record, if you remember. You get the for each album one disc, and either you listen to everything or you don't listen to any of those. Then came the uh, tapes that gives you the flexibility of using different songs as per your convenience. So I'll call it as a integration, application integration. So it's for the well equipped. Then the latest one is creating the playlist. So that is your composable enterprise. Like you can actively personalize that thing based on the changing environment. For example, if there's a new song from Arijit, I can alter my playlist, right? So that's the easiest explanation I can give you. But if you think from that perspective, the key thing in composable architecture or composable business is when you design the app, you design it from the very lower level. So you create simple modules and then reuse them. So it's a modular approach, and those simple modules are called the packaged business capabilities. And I'm telling you, this composable architecture and this packaged business capability are the words that, if you are in sales, if you say them, that will drive towards AES. Or if you understand them, that's the vision why people are ready to spend that much. So you have different
Yeah,
modules, you club them, build an app. If you require, decompose them, rearrange them. It's a kind of Lego thing, right? Like if you have played with Legos, club them, build something, then dismantle, club, build, that kind of a situation.
yeah. So you are saying that they are also kind of interportable. We
Yeah,
can reuse them. This architecture or composable approach is more modular, I would say,
yeah,
uh, and modularity and reusability make it more interportable. That is what the main thing is. But does it help to reduce cost?
yeah. It does.
Because we are talking about low code people. Let's say the thing which I was speaking about, business challenge, IT challenge, that helps in that was the cost scenario. But how this particular approach will help us to reduce the cost?
So
Are these three things which we just discussed uh, driving forces?
yeah, obviously they are the driving forces when it comes to cost reduction. Let's pick them one by one. Business technologists, developers are costly. We are asking for too much money, right? And if you put someone from that for building app, it's cost saving. Fusion teams, silos are removed, apps are building faster. So per total amount of FTEs you are spending on building an app, that get reduced. Composable architecture. So for example, if my organization has this thing, like for every ticket raised, send a teams message to someone, or for every catalog item, send an approval to someone. That is my package business unit, like a callable flow. You get that thing sorted, you save costs, you just pick and use. You don't spend that much effort in rebuilding or rewiring those things. So ultimately, every driving force is towards the saving the cost and building app faster.
Great, man. But just want to again reiterate this, that this is something our learning before we approached both Drew and me. Before we approached the implementation of App Engine Studio, I think we learned all these terms. We did our own research and then did our experience sharing within the organizations as well, Drew, right? Do you want to add something apart from what I just said before we move on?
So if you're aware about these terms, like if you're a consultant or an architect, you should be aware about these terms, because the people who are actually the decision makers, who are actually spending the money, who are actually paying the bill, they attend these conferences and they have those words fit in their mind. And when they hear, so for example, if I am going to buy something, very simple example, if I'm going to buy chocolate, uh, from health perspective, sugar free or something is in my mind, Or if something I'm buying chocolate protein bar is in my mind, I'm the money spender. If I go on a store and I see there is a protein bar that tastes like chocolate, it's sugar free, I am tend towards buying that instead of one that I usually buy. So that kind of a thing. And when you know these terms, and when you talk in in these terms, you tend to connect with the leadership very well. And the best part is, whenever we start any project, the low hanging fruits are very important. The setting up of the trust is very important, right? And
True.
when we speak same language, that trust gets built, and that helps in a long run, that makes the project go more smooth. You get the buy-in, you get everything. So that's the thing.
Yeah, so basically we should connect with the leadership who is actually going to make the decision of buying this, and that was the exact reason why we did this first episode. So this is our pre App Engine Studio episode where we set the ground, explain the trending terms to our listeners, our audience, and then actually we are going to talk about App Engine Studio in our next session. So we just saw why people are adopting low code, no code platform more and more, why many organizations are moving towards that particular concept. And when we talk about AES, we will talk about why ServiceNow is investing more and more in AES and why people are going to adopt AES more and more. We will also connect all these three terms and the terminologies and the tools given by ServiceNow so that we can explain it in our next sections properly. That, for example, Drew, I think you already mentioned template builder or template management thing, which can be used by the business technologist. Then why we have flow designers, why we have table builder. All those things we are going to cover in our next episodes. So my suggestion is please stay tuned with us. Subscribe to our channel. You will get a notification for our next episode as well. We will also post it on our LinkedIn handles. Um,
Mhm.
and that was mainly something which I wanted to discuss with the audience. Dhruv, do you want to add something on this?
Yeah, just one thing, like if people are listening to us, they might think we miss the most important word, the governance. And that was intentional because we want to discuss that in very high detail and what ServiceNow has to offer for that. So we know our things, we know our job, we know stuff. So we'll cover everything. Don't worry about that.
Great. So just again to end this particular episode, we are going to talk about App Engine Studio. Why should we invest in App Engine Studio? Mainly from ServiceNow point of view, not from low code, no code platform. We are not going to compare the platforms. We are going to talk mainly about App Engine Studio, and we will do many more sessions in future. So stay tuned, and thank you for listening to our episode.
And one last thing, like we are not going to only talk about from AES from the point of implementation, but the way we talk today, we're going to talk about different ceremonies that you would encounter, like how to handle the kickoff things, pre-demos, how to talk about the some parameters, some decisions that you need to take during the project. So we'll cover all of them. So yeah, it's gonna be, we have put on a very dream kind of a series on our radar, but it all depends on the feedback, how the first episode is being received, and that will be the driving factor for us, just like a composable architecture for AES.
Yeah, it's going to be lot of speaking because we are sharing our knowledge. We will try to also touch the technical aspects and do something live on the platform. That being said, have a nice good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thanks for listening to us. We are Laten, we Praten.
Enjoy, guys.